What if the Jedi Order rebuilt Starlight Beacon during the prequel era? That's our story for today. I really enjoy this one, maybe more than some recent ones, so I hope you guys enjoy the story as well. As for what Starlight Beacon is, well, that will all be explained in the video, so hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into it. Our story begins inside of the Jedi Temple, in the halls surrounding the Room of 1,000 Fountains. This is an extremely peaceful area in the temple, and one that the young 13-year-old Anakin Skywalker often visits when he needs a place to find peace within himself. He liked Obi-Wan, but sometimes he just needed to be alone, and Tatooine never had anything like this. Heck, just seeing running water was like a miracle for Anakin on Tatooine, so these fountains helped give him perspective, and today he closed his eyes, trying to feel the Force around him. Outside of these halls, one of the oldest Jedi in the entire Order, Jedi Master Oppo Rancisis, was walking by and he could actually feel Anakin through the Force in this moment. He was like an open storm cloud. Oppo had never truly spoken to Anakin, but he was in the council chambers when the Jedi first interviewed him and deemed him unfit to be trained. Oppo now didn't have a huge problem with him being trained, as he believed it to be the will of the Force, and today, he believed the Force to be guiding him to Skywalker. So Oppo sat next to him, his tail and his forearms tucked away, as he introduced himself to young Skywalker and asked what was bothering him. Anakin always liked when the Jedi Master spoke to him. It made him feel like a real person, rather than this chosen one that was thrown around all the time. So, he told Oppo that he recently met with Chancellor Palpatine, and the Chancellor took him to the Undercity of Coruscant. Palpatine had described to Anakin that the Senate was full of corrupt, greedy individuals. It doesn't seem to be a system of good people, and yet the Jedi dedicate their service to serving this Senate. Why? Anakin asked. Oppo enjoyed this openness from Anakin. It was a quality found less and less in the Jedi halls, and so Oppo said it didn't always used to be this way. The Jedi once made an effort to serve the people of the entire galaxy, not just the Republic. And Anakin immediately asked what he meant. When living in the Outer Rim, Anakin truly never saw Jedi. He wished the Jedi were out there to help the slaves and stop the crime. And so Oppo got a bit more comfortable and began recalling history of the High Republic, saying, former Republic Chancellor Lina So's mission to bring the light of the Republic to the Outer Rim was meant to be the pinnacle of her great works. She wanted to create a series of state-of-the-art space stations known as beacons. The first and only one to be completed was appropriately named Starlight, as it was envisioned to be the first of such stations constructed to bring greater prosperity to the frontier of the Outer Rim. Oppo noticed Anakin was not only listening, but extremely intrigued, so he continued on, saying, Starlight Beacon was the first ray of hope for many systems in this distant part of the galaxy known as the Outer Rim. The station was designed to broadcast a signal, a reassuring chime, that anyone with even the most rudimentary equipment could hear for hundreds of parsecs around the station. The sound would help everyone find their way. The Jedi Council lent more than just their support for this effort at the time, as Starlight Beacon was akin to a mobile, space-worthy Jedi temple. From that gleaming station, the Jedi worked hand in hand with the Republic to operate it and provide security. Now Anakin jumped in, exclaiming his admiration for a Jedi temple in space. He couldn't believe it, and with a small chuckle, Oppo recalled being in the Jedi area in Starlight Beacon, saying, Starlight featured its own Jedi quarter from which the Padawans, Knights, and Masters who were stationed there might find a home among the stars. For many, a posting to Starlight Beacon was a great honor, rivaling postings at the Great Temple on Coruscant. Many Jedi, either posted to the beacon or just passing through, would find a quiet spot for meditation among the station's biogardens. Each biosphere zone welcomed visitors to walk through recreations of various worlds in the Outer Rim territories. To support the Republic's mission of greater prosperity, a merchant's tower brought traders together, each with a variety of supplies. Starlight's docking bay was a flurry of activity, as ships of every type came to find food, fuel, and new opportunities. The Republic's arrival to this corner of the Outer Rim caused a flurry of activity, as traders packed transports to the brim to move goods before taxes may be imposed. However, many simply sought a safe refuge to rest, and those looking for a break could grab a drink in a quiet tap bar named Unity, a welcoming area for those who seek a respite from the busy galaxy. After its creation, Starlight Beacon instantly became a vibrant hub of Republic activity in the Outer Rim. From this towering space station, the Republic offered refuge, resources for all who came. Its med center, staffed with some of the finest doctors, surgeons, and medical technology the Republic could offer, took in the mounting sick or wounded. And with new foes seemingly around every turn, as the Republic expanded further into the Outer Rim, every medical bay was needed. Now Anakin curiously asked what Oppo meant by mounting foes. Who could stand against the Jedi and Republic? And now Oppo had a distant look in his eye, as he recalled many battles involving the beacon, and he said, for more than a year the Jedi used Starlight Beacon as their base of operations to combat the Nihil group. This was a group of criminals that largely controlled the Outer Rim, heavily opposed Jedi expansion. There were multiple attempts at sabotage, each discovered and deflected in short order by the beacon's Jedi defenders. But in the station's final days, something weakened the Jedi of Starlight Beacon's connection to the Force. A sense of dread fell upon many of them. This seemingly slight disruption allowed the Nihil to infiltrate deep into Starlight Beacon's core, where they set upon their task to sabotage the very heart of the great station. When the Jedi felt the explosion, it was already too late. Starlight Beacon could not be saved. Everyone still wonders what caused the Jedi disruption in the Force. Some say the Sith were reborn that day. Others think Starlight was just orbiting a dark side planet. Either way, Starlight was destroyed, and so many people died that day, including many great Jedi and friends. Now Anakin stayed silent, and Oppo gave him a kind smile before saying, the Jedi ventured into the Outer Rim, believing we could help usher in an age of prosperity by sharing the light of the Force in dark corners of the galaxy. For a time, we did achieve that goal. Billions of lives were saved by Jedi rescuers. New systems joined the Republic, and through that partnership, we saved countless lives from natural and unnatural disasters. Starlight Beacon provided aid and safe harbor to thousands, and we learned so much about the galaxy along the way. The unintended consequence of our invention into the Outer Rim was that we awakened enemies who threatened our order in ways that we had not seen in generations. Anakin asked what happened after it was destroyed. Did the Jedi respond to these criminals? But Oppo said the High Council, led by Yoda, recalled all Jedi back to the Grand Temple on Coruscant. The enemies that weakened or killed so many were simply too dangerous to the Jedi for us to remain scattered across the galaxy. At Master Yoda's urging, we had to regather our strength and find a way to defend ourselves from this threat. For as long as we could not combat this danger, we could not protect others from the danger. And so naturally Anakin was now very confused. The Jedi now stood at 10,000 total members, and yet they choose to simply reside here on Coruscant, completely separate to the Outer Rim. Oppo put his hand to his beard to think, saying that the Jedi serve the Senate, and they cannot interfere much in the Outer Rim worlds, as they are not in the Republic. When Starlight was built, the Republic was expanding. Now the Republic is shrinking, as recently a Separatist alliance was born. It was no threat right now, just planets joining former Jedi Dooku in a small alliance to leave the Republic. The Jedi figured it was nothing and likely to die out quickly, but these words from Anakin seemed to awaken something in Oppo. Back in the golden age of the Jedi during the expansion of the Republic, Oppo was one of the most supportive Jedi when it came to building and using outposts across the Outer Rim to serve as sort of mini temples outside of Coruscant. He once believed it was necessary for the Jedi to have a strong presence on many Outer Rim planets, but since the great disaster with the beacon and the Jedi recall to Coruscant, Oppo had gotten caught up in the Council, the Senate, and he realized now, as he spoke to a child from the Outer Rim, that the Jedi were nothing more than a myth to the people out there. That was a failure. He talked with Anakin for a while longer, getting his perspective on the Jedi from the people of the Outer Rim, and soon he truly learned the Jedi are not doing their duty. He remembered a lesson from his former master Yaddle so long ago. She once told him, it is by being out in the galaxy that we can truly live up to our mission as messengers of peace. A calm, prosperous existence is the most fertile ground for unity and goodwill to bloom, and with everything in balance, only then can we find a deeper connection to the Force. And Oppo stood up, thanking Anakin for his young insight as he went to speak to Yoda in the Council. Oppo would go on to speak with Yoda, Windu, Plo Koon, and a handful of other Jedi available to attend this meeting. Oppo claimed that the Force called him to speak to Anakin, and he thinks the Jedi are failing by not expanding into the Outer Rim. And to his surprise, Yoda was actually in agreement with this. Oppo caught Yoda on perhaps the perfect day for this conversation. The Grand Master just learned that Dooku, was the head of an early separatist movement. Dooku was Yoda's last student, and upon learning that his former student believed the Jedi and Republic were broken enough to completely leave, Yoda was open to new ideas to bring the Republic and the galaxy back into balance. Or old ideas. Oppo proposed the rebuilding of Starlight Beacon to once again be a hub for the Jedi and Republic to help those in the Outer Rim, and after much deliberation, it was decided. The Jedi would head the construction of the beacon, as long as Palpatine and the Senate agreed to this. But, unfortunately, Chancellor Palpatine was very against this idea, as the Jedi went and proposed it to him. Palpatine said they must focus heavily on the planets already in the Republic, and the Outer Rim is taken over by crime syndicates like the Hutts and the Black Sun. Republic expansion would mean war. Plo Koon said that may be true, but if war meant helping the people, perhaps it was a necessity. But Palpatine completely shut down the idea, so now Yoda had a different idea. He would travel to Sereno with Oppo Rancisis and Mace Windu, homeworld of Count Dooku. The Jedi were allowed entry into Dooku's castle, and they soon met with him at the Great Table. Dooku was aging noticeably quickly, seemingly under a lot of stress, but Yoda said today they bring news that may relieve Dooku's stress a bit. Dooku had always been an advocate for Republic and Jedi expanding their influence into the Outer Rim, but the Jedi were always too stubborn to listen. But now, they were seeing their failures to protect this galaxy, and Yoda proposed that Dooku fund the creation of Starlight Beacon. If he does this, then the Jedi Order will split into two. 5,000 members will remain on Coruscant, carrying out missions at the request of the Senate, but the other 5,000 will aid the creation of the beacon, spread Republic and Jedi aid into the Outer Rim. Dooku honestly couldn't believe this. The Jedi were doing what he'd always wanted, serving the people of the galaxy. He said he would consider this, and the Jedi would leave in peace. As they did, Dooku realized this was a way out. He thought he was stuck serving the Sith. He thought it was the only way to achieve peace and prosperity that he desperately wanted for the Republic. But maybe this was a way out from the clutches of the dark side that were turning him into someone he did not recognize. And Dooku put together a plan to simultaneously get rid of his master, while also showing the Republic that expansion is a necessity. A few days later, Dooku would contact the Jedi and say that he will accept their offer. He will help to fund the creation of this new Starlight Beacon. But as the Jedi were speaking in council with a hologram of Dooku, a loud explosion across Coruscant could be felt. The Jedi looked out of their window to the Republic Executive Building. An explosion just erupted in Palpatine's office, and from the smoke of it all emerged the logo of the Black Sun crime syndicate from the Outer Rim. The Jedi scrambled to help anyone who was injured in the horrific blast. When things settled down, the death total was miraculously just one, but it was Chancellor Palpatine. In his early days as senator, Palpatine was influential in pushing the Black Sun out of Naboo, and today they showed they were strong enough to get their revenge. No one knew how the criminals got into their office. They would have had to be given instructions from someone who knew a secret entrance. Dooku said this was terribly unfortunate, but now that Palpatine was dead, in an emergency Senate meeting, Count Dooku and Yoda would speak, saying that this shows the Republic has ignored expansion for far too long. Crime syndicates are dangerous to the galaxy, and the rebuilding of Starlight Beacon will aid in a new golden age for Republic and Jedi, working as one. Dooku announced that his initial separatist movement will be stopped, and instead his efforts will go to helping this beacon be created. Most of the Senate was pleased by this, the corporations not so much, as they just wanted the Republic to split and war to be created, but they were outvoted heavily, and the creation would finally get underway. The first few years were very successful, as many Jedi were stationed to help the thousands of employees hired to help build the beacon. Perhaps the greatest surprise to anyone was how great Anakin Skywalker was for this. At just 16 years old, Anakin was a top engineer for the beacon, helping build it as an influential Jedi. And Anakin's influence was spread to many people, as he became a symbol for many citizens to show the Jedi truly mean well. As Anakin helped lead the building of the huge beacon, his master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, was stationed on it as well, and he would lead many of the initial Outer Rim negotiations to bring planets into the Republic. Obi-Wan quickly earned a nickname around the Outer Rim as the Negotiator, as he was excellent at convincing new systems to join the Republic, and once they did, many Jedi outposts would be built. The creation or restoration of outposts from the High Republic era was led by Oppo Rancisis and Plo Koon among others. half of the council was sent to aid Starlight Beacon in Outer Rim expansion, including Plo, Oppo, Kit Fisto, and Shaak Ti, while half remained on Coruscant, including Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Depa Billaba, and Mace Windu. These outposts would be built or restored, and each outpost would have a Jedi Master stationed here as the Marshal of sorts. They would each be given a group of 100 or so Jedi to provide aid and security against crime and piracy throughout the Outer Rim planets. Every day the beacon grew, new systems joined the Republic, and the galaxy was becoming more balanced. On Coruscant, new Chancellor Anakin Defar was very progressive and supportive of all of this, and he would make Count Dooku the official Marshal of Starlight Beacon. In recent years, Dooku shut down the secret clone army and tried to forgive himself for the deaths of Yaddle and Sifo Dyas. He did orchestrate the bombing of Palpatine's office, killing off the Sith, and that did give him some peace. No one knew of his murders, and as Marshal of the Beacon, he would find peace in bringing the people of the galaxy together. But it was not without resistance from the crime syndicates. The Black Sun, Pikes, and Hutts, among other syndicates, all hated the Republic expansion. But luckily for the Jedi, the first few years of expansion were spent by the syndicates fighting among themselves about who will lead their resistance efforts against the Jedi Beacon. For years, the crime syndicates only fought each other in wars that would massacre many of them as they fought for control of the Outer Rim. The upside to this was that it gave the Jedi and Republic years to expand without fighting the syndicates. The downside would come around 5 years into the construction of the huge beacon, as the Black Sun won the Syndicate War and has now become a huge threat to expansion, as they've gathered many members from the other syndicates. For a year, the Black Sun would begin targeting Jedi outposts in the Outer Rim, forcing Jedi to retreat or call for help, as they were often overwhelmed by the sheer number of Syndicate members attacking. They were unorganized, but they were driven by the desire to have a galaxy of chaos and anarchy, while the Jedi were led by the desire to have peace and harmony in the galaxy. Two complete opposite ideologies in a war with each other. The Jedi would counter these threats to expansion by asking the citizens of these Outer Rim planets to fight back, create mini-militias, aid the Jedi. In years prior, the Jedi asking the Outer Rim people for help would have been useless, but now the people were seeing the Jedi truly did mean well, and so they would help fight back the criminals. Many battles would take place, and as the citizens fought back, the tides of war would turn. On Hetzal, Plo Koon was defending a Jedi outpost with around 70 surviving Jedi. The chances of victory were bleak, as the Black Sun seemed to never be ending in warriors. But in the final moments before retreating, the people of Hetzal charged into battle behind a group of Jedi Knights that helped recruit them. The Black Sun were pushed out of Hetzal with thousands of members taken prisoner, put into the huge prison on Starlight Beacon. The beacon was far larger than anyone expected, and could fit around 1 million people at a time. The tide of the Black Sun vs. Jedi war would turn as it spread to Mon Cala, which Kit Fisto defended successfully. Megiddo was defended by Jaro Tapal and his group of Jedi. The same happened on Turkana, under the protection of Shaak Ti. The Jedi and Republic fighters were winning, but the climax of the war would come on one fateful day. The Black Sun enslaved countless beings in planets not yet occupied by the Republic, and those enslaved ended up creating a superweapon, one-of-a-kind ship for the Black Sun. In a final effort to win this war with the Jedi, the Black Sun launched a fleet to the Starlight Beacon. There was, of course, a heavy Republic fleet protecting the beacon, but as the Black Sun fleet launched, the Republic quickly realized this was no ordinary battle. The lead supership from the Black Sun powered up a huge laser, firing it directly at the Starlight Beacon. A large Jedi cruiser, piloted and protected by Master Pablo Jill, sped just enough to get in the way of the huge laser blast, sacrificing his life and the Jedi cruiser to save the Starlight Beacon, and hopefully give the Jedi fighters time to respond. As the Jedi cruiser exploded from the laser cannon, Jedi scrambled into fighter ships to counter this fleet, while the laser powered back up. The most notable fighter for the Jedi was Anakin Skywalker, and he flew through the air in the largest battle of this Jedi Syndicate war, taking out countless ships, trying to destroy the main ship with the laser powering back up. From Starlight Beacon, Oppo Rancisis was studying the ship's readings, and he discovered something crucial. The shields on the ship were powerful, but there is a few seconds where the shields shut down and all power is diverted to the laser. Oppo had an idea, and he felt the force flowing all around him. He boarded a Jedi fighter, flying straight into battle, but he watched the laser powering back up, then connected his comms to Anakin's, and Oppo told Anakin that he is the future of the Jedi, thanking him for helping the Jedi find their way once more. Anakin looked through the battle as Oppo waited for the Syndicate ship to shut its shields down to fire, and as they did, Oppo slammed his Jedi ship right into the laser gun. Without shields, this sacrifice from Oppo caused the lead ship to implode from the inside as the laser malfunctioned, causing the Black Sun ship to quickly explode, with many of its key members inside. Anakin felt Oppo become one with the Force. He closed his eyes a moment before finishing this battle and winning the long war. With the Black Sun defeated, the beacon would finally finish construction that month, and it was exactly what everyone dreamed of. Anakin Skywalker was now 22 years old, and he was famous around the Outer Rim. He was so beloved that Dooku gave up his role as Marshal of the Beacon, giving it to Anakin. This came at the time when Vice Chancellor of the Republic, basically the Chancellor of the Outer Rim expansion, Padme Amidala, arrived at the station with many senators from around the Outer Rim planets recently added to the Republic. Standing there in the central assembly room at the heart of the Starlight Beacon, it was impossible not to get caught up in the emotions of that day. Everything the Republic stood for was on display today. Countless species stood united, representing planets from the deep core to the furthest reaches of the Outer Rim. Scientists, engineers, doctors, and teachers stood alongside senators, ministers, and royalty. Every prominent member of the Jedi Order was there that day, dressed in their finest ceremonial robes. They were not just there as partners to the Republic, but to present a salute of vibrant color, igniting their lightsabers at the very moment Starlight Beacon was completely activated. It had been said thousands of times before that moment, but at that very second, it rang truer than ever. We are all the Republic. After its creation, the beacon became a vibrant hub of activity for the Republic in the Outer Rim. From the towering space station, the Republic offered refuge and resources for everyone who needed it. They would take in the mounting sick and all of the freed slaves they could find, offering hospitality and eventually setting them up with a new life. Marshal Skywalker and Chancellor Amidala dedicated their service to helping these people, and Starlight would be the first of many beacons that would be built over the years, as Republic and Jedi expansion would help integrate a new golden age of the Jedi-Republic partnership. Anakin and Padme would keep their relationship professional, as they were both so distracted by their work in this expansion. Obi-Wan would train Ahsoka Tano, as Anakin was busy, but Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka would be very close, as they maintained peace together in this new, peaceful era. And folks, that is our story. First ever tie-ins I've really done to the High Republic, as you know, I wanted to kind of do something with Acolyte coming around. Really enjoyed that show. If you want to see me and PPSW, Penty Patrol Star Wars, talk about it, you can go check out the second channel. Link is in the description. Appreciate you guys. Let me know what you thought. So, Starlight Beacon is something that's really interesting to me because it shows the Jedi did try to kind of expand into the Outer Rim, but ultimately it failed due to the Nile, the group of pirates during that time, just completely taking them out. And that sucks. I mean, would have liked to see the Jedi try more, but it really shows the Jedi's complacency that they never did try again. They just recalled everyone back to Coruscant and began serving the Senate, and we see a lot of that really go through the prequels. So yeah, that's what the Separatist Alliance is a lot of, just being ignored by the Republic. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Palpatine just getting killed in a bombing by Dooku. You know, just wanted to get him out of the way so we could have this story. So yeah, Dooku, thanks for doing that. Anyways, thanks for listening. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Oppo Rancisis is today's featured Jedi, and I'll see you in the next video.